Jerusalem breathes in mourning. The sound of wailing threads through narrow streets like smoke from dying fires. King Uzziah is dead. The throne stands empty, the air heavy with fear and pride undone. Isaiah, son of Amoz, walks among the crowd, feeling the tremor of a kingdom that has lost its anchor. The sky bruises purple with twilight, and the temple looms ahead, its great bronze doors like the eyelids of a sleeping god. He climbs the steps, sandals scraping the stone worn by centuries of prayers. Inside, silence reigns, vast, alive, almost breathing. The air hums with something ancient, something that watches. Isaiah kneels, whispers breaking like fragile pottery. Woe is me, for I am a man of unclean lips. And then the world ignites. The pillars shudder, the thresholds tremble, and the veil of smoke parts to reveal a throne high and lifted up. Above it, seraphim hover, their 6 wings blazing with holiness. Their cry shatters eternity. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. The sound tears through Isaiah's soul, unraveling his humanity before divine fire. The world seems to collapse inward. Isaiah cannot breathe. His chest constricts beneath the weight of holiness. The sight burns through his flesh, sears through bone, until he feels his sin laid bare before an all-seeing fire. He cries out, his voice cracked by fear and revelation, "Woe is me! I am undone!" His words echo through eternity, a confession and a plea. The seraphim descend, wings unfurling like dawn, across the abyss. One approaches the altar where coals glow like beating hearts. With tongs of gold, it takes a burning ember and drifts toward him. The air trembles, light folding into itself as it nears. Isaiah's eyes clench shut, and then the touch. A coal pressed to his lips, pain and peace collide, smoke rising from purged flesh. A voice clear and calm as still water speaks. Your guilt is taken away, your sin atoned. Isaiah gasps, and the world fills with a new breath. Not his own, but divine. The temple is quiet now, though light still breathes through its pillars. Isaiah's lips sting, but the pain hums with holiness. The fire has not destroyed him. It has remade him. Around him, the seraphim drift like living stars, circling the throne in slow reverence. In the silence, a sound rises, not thunder this time, but something deeper, gentler, infinite. It is the voice. Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? The words fold through him like wind through a forest. For a moment, fear grips his heart again. The memory of unworthiness, the taste of ashes. But now, within that trembling, he feels something greater. A pulse of courage born from surrender. His voice breaks through the stillness, small yet eternal. Here am I. Send me. And heaven listen. The air cools, though light still hangs like mist. Isaiah lowers his head, overwhelmed by the gravity of what he has spoken. The seraphim return to their stations, folding wings of fire against the unseen expanse. In that stillness, Isaiah feels the breath of God fill the space around him, a presence too vast for words. The temple no longer seems made of stone and metal, but of sound and light. The boundaries of heaven and earth dissolving into one trembling unity. Then the voice speaks again, not loud, but weighty as the world itself. Go, it says. Say to this people, hearing, they will not understand. Seeing, they will not perceive. The command cuts through him like a blade, sharper than sorrow. He sees for the first time that prophecy is not glory, it is burden. And yet, his heart does not shrink, it burns. He bows low, knowing his life will never again belong to him. Outside, dawn breaks over Jerusalem. The sky blushes with gold and crimson, the city stirring beneath the echo of divine thunder. Isaiah steps out of the temple, the air cold against his face. He feels the world changed, not in its stones or its streets, but in his sight. Every sound carries new meaning. Every breath feels like borrowed eternity. He looks toward the palace where King Uzziah once reigned, now silent in death, and whispers a prayer for a nation asleep in pride. Hephzibah waits at the foot of the hill, her cloak drawn tight against the wind. When she sees him, she senses the transformation before he speaks. The fire behind his eyes, the weight in his silence. She takes his hand, trembling slightly, as if touching someone both familiar and beyond reach. Isaiah looks back toward the temple one last time. The doors close with a sound like thunder, and from that moment, the prophet's path begins. Weeks have passed since the vision, yet Isaiah still hears echoes of wings in his dreams. He walks through Jerusalem's bustling heart, past merchants and nobles, prophets and priests, and feels their blindness like fog. They sing songs of peace while their hearts rot with greed. They offer incense but hide injustice beneath gold. He stops before the temple steps and begins to speak, his voice trembling at first, then growing stronger. "Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me." Faces turn. Laughter ripples through the crowd, until they see his eyes. There is fire there, not of madness, but of truth too terrible to deny. Children stop playing. A woman clutches her shawl. The sound of the city dims. Isaiah's words strike the air like lightning over dry ground. By night, Isaiah returns home in silence. Hephzibah watches him from the doorway, her face lit by the soft glow of an oil lamp. "They do not listen?" she asks. Isaiah shakes his head, eyes distant. "Their ears are full of comfort. They will not trade it for truth." He sinks to his knees, hands trembling. The burden feels heavier than the glory that gave it. He hears again the voice, not distant this time, but near, woven into his heartbeat. "Cry aloud. Spare not. Lift up your voice like a trumpet." He lifts his face to heaven and whispers through tears, "How long, Lord?" No answer comes, only silence deep enough to echo. At dawn, Isaiah walks through the valley outside Jerusalem, a place where vineyards grow among the stones. The early light falls across dry vines and cracked soil. "The vineyard of the Lord," he murmurs, remembering the words burning within him. He looked for justice, but behold, oppression. He begins to speak again, though no one is there to listen. Each word feels like both a song and a wound. His voice rolls across the hills. "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness." His cry startles a flock of doves into flight. For a brief moment, the valley fills with their sound, the only chorus to his solitary sermon. And Isaiah realizes prophecy is not meant to be heard by crowds first, but by heaven itself. Days pass and rumors spread through the city. Some call him mad. Others whisper that he speaks for the Almighty. Isaiah walks through the crowd as if through a storm of invisible stones. A group of priests confronts him near the temple gates, their faces stern, their robes immaculate. "You blaspheme," one says, voice thick with disdain. "You claim to speak for God while defiling his peace." Isaiah looks up, weary but resolute. Peace built on lies is not peace. The priest turns away, his jaw tight. Behind him, the people murmur, torn between fear and fascination. The sun hangs low, bleeding orange over the city's rooftops. Isaiah stands alone in its dying light, his shadow long and unwavering. That night, a storm rolls in from the hills. Isaiah and Hephzibah watch from their doorway as lightning splits the horizon. Rain falls heavy, washing the dust from the streets. Will they change? she asks softly. Isaiah does not answer at once. His gaze lingers on the dark clouds, their depths pulsing with light. Change is born in ruin, he says. They will see when the walls crumble. Thunder rolls like the voice he once heard in the temple. Hephzibah reaches for his hand, her fingers trembling. He grips hers in silence. Not as a prophet now, but as a man clinging to the one light left to him. The storm grows fierce, but Isaiah does not flinch. He has seen storms before. Within heaven itself, the world has grown quiet before dawn. Isaiah stands on the city wall, gazing eastward, as the first light spills over the desert. He senses it before he sees it. The stir of empires beyond the horizon, the hum of armies waiting for their hour. A whisper moves through the wind, the same voice that called him once in flame. Lift up your eyes, prophet. The nations rise and fall, but my word endures. Visions flash before him. Banners of Babylon unfurling in crimson smoke. Assyrian chariots thundering like storms. Kings drunk with conquest. Yet behind the terror, he glimpses something else. The faint outline of a promise unbroken. Isaiah closes his eyes, tears streaking his dusted cheeks. How long must we suffer before the light returns? The wind answers with silence, but it is a silence alive with fire. The vision deepens. Isaiah finds himself no longer on the wall, but within a place beyond time. A desert without sun or shadow. The sands move like smoke beneath his feet. Before him rises a statue, half gold, half clay, its head crowned, its feet crumbling. A voice, vast and sorrowful, speaks through the shifting wind. The kingdoms of men are dust before my breath. Babylon will rise, and Babylon will fall. The statue cracks from crown to base, light bursting through its fractures. Isaiah shields his eyes, trembling. Then the sand turns red, and from it, cities emerge and vanish like mirages. Nineveh, Damascus, Tyre. He falls to his knees, whispering through trembling lips. The world is a furnace, and truth its flame. Isaiah awakens from the vision gasping, his body drenched in sweat. Hephzibah rushes to his side, her hands trembling as she touches his face. Another vision, she whispers. He nods. Eyes unfocused, voice cracked. The nations burn like straw, and yet, within the fire I saw a seed. She gazes at him, torn between love and terror. You speak of ruin as if it were mercy. He takes her hand gently. Perhaps mercy wears the face of ruin until we learn to see. Outside, thunder murmurs across the hills. Isaiah looks toward the horizon, sensing the unseen hand of God, moving the pieces of time itself. Isaiah walks through the courtyard of young disciples, scribes who have begun to follow him. They carry tablets of clay etching his words into permanence. Write it down, he says softly, so that those yet unborn may read and understand. One of them, a boy barely 20, asks, Master, if judgment is certain, what is left for hope? Isaiah smiles faintly, those sorrow pools behind his eyes. Hope is not what we keep. It is what keeps us. The wind stirs the olive branches above, scattering sunlight across their faces. For a moment, the burden feels light, not because it has lessened, but because others now help carry it. That night, Isaiah climbs the hills beyond the city once more. The sky burns with stars like watchful eyes. He kneels and prays aloud, his voice breaking in the still air. Lord, if you have shown me the fall of nations, show me also their redemption. For a long while, nothing moves. Then, a whisper. Not from the wind this time, but from within. Out of the stump shall grow a branch, and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. Isaiah's eyes widen. The words repeat, glowing within him like fire reborn. He understands now that beyond the ruins, something greater waits. Not wrath, but restoration. Not silence, but song. Trumpets echo across Jerusalem's walls. Messengers arrive breathless, dust clinging to their robes. The news spreads like fire through dry straw. Assyria is moving south. Their banners, black and gold, blot the horizon like a plague. Within the palace, fear clings to marble pillars. King Hezekiah, young but burdened by crown and counsel, summons Isaiah. When the prophet enters, silence ripples through the court. His robes are simple, but his eyes command more gravity than any crown. Hezekiah asks softly, "What does the Lord say of this army?" Isaiah gazes toward the palace window, where the wind carries faint echoes of marching feet. He says, "Fear not the arm of flesh, for I will defend this city for my name's sake." Some laugh, others whisper, but Hezekiah's heart steadies, not because he believes yet, but because Isaiah's words leave no room for lesser hope. Night falls, and the city burns with fear. Mothers hush their children as soldiers march through narrow streets, their armor glinting like shards of moonlight. Isaiah walks among them, unseen by most, a quiet figure moving through panic like calm through storm. He stops beside the outer gate, watching torches flicker along the walls. A soldier, barely 20, turns and asks, "Will he truly defend us?" Isaiah studies the youth's trembling hands, then places a palm on his shoulder. "If the Lord wills to keep this city, not a sword forged by man can break his will. Be steadfast." The boy nods, tears glimmering. Above them, lightning forks through the night, as if heaven listens. The next day, a messenger from Assyria arrives, proud, armored, his words dripping with arrogance. "Do not trust in your God," he cries before the gates, voice echoing across the valley. "No nation has withstood the might of our king. Your God will not save you." The people murmur. Some weep. Isaiah watches from the wall, his jaw set, eyes fierce. When the messenger departs, Hezekiah tears his robe and sends for Isaiah once more. Within the temple, the prophet kneels, spreading the blasphemous letter before the altar. "Lord of hosts," he whispers, "see how they mock you. Let all nations know that you alone are God." The air thickens, the lamps flicker. A presence stirs, unseen but undeniable. The storm is no longer outside the walls. It has entered the temple. That night, the wind changes. It rushes through the streets with a sound unlike any storm, a whisper, vast and alive. Soldiers stir in their sleep beyond the city walls. Torches sputter out one by one. The Assyrian camp lies in eerie stillness. At dawn, the watchmen climb the wall and cry out in disbelief. The enemy tents are silent, their banners motionless. Where legions had stood, only wind and silence remain. One by one, the gates open to a sunrise without battle. Isaiah stands beside Hezekiah on the wall. The king's lips tremble. What happened? Isaiah's gaze remains fixed on the horizon. "The Lord has fought for you." Hezekiah drops to his knees, tears shining in his eyes as the city awakens to impossible deliverance. That evening, the city sings again. Trumpets sound, and torches blaze in the courtyards, yet Isaiah stands apart on the temple steps, watching the people rejoice. Hephzibah joins him, her eyes soft with relief. It is over," she says, smiling faintly. Isaiah's gaze drifts toward the darkened horizon. "This battle," he murmurs, "but not the war." She takes his hand. "Then rest, my love. Even prophets must breathe." He nods, though his eyes linger on the stars, knowing that victory does not end the burden. It deepens it. Somewhere beyond the celebration, he can almost hear it again. The faint, distant whisper of the voice that first set him aflame. Sleep eludes Isaiah. He kneels in the dim temple, the scent of oil and incense heavy in the air. His heart burns with questions unspoken. "Lord," he whispers, "what is this plan that unfolds beyond the ages? You judge nations and yet speak of mercy. How can both be true?" The air stills. Then the light returns, not fierce this time, but soft as dawn upon still water. In that radiance, he sees a figure. A man, clothed not in majesty but in humility. His face is marred, yet radiant with compassion. He bears no sword, yet the world bends at his steps. Isaiah trembles. The vision draws nearer. He was despised and rejected. The voice whispers, "A man of sorrows, acquainted with grief." Tears fall from the prophet's eyes. He sees salvation not through power, but through suffering. Isaiah stands within the vision, unable to move. He watches the servant walk through streets lined with scorn. Men spit, children mock, soldiers strike. Yet he answers with silence. The weight of the world rests upon his shoulders. But his eyes hold no resentment. Only love, fierce, unbroken. Isaiah weeps openly. "He is wounded for our transgressions," he murmurs, "bruised for our iniquities." And as he speaks, he feels the prophecy carve itself into his heart like fire upon stone. The servant turns once, gazing at him with eyes that seem to hold all creation, sorrow and redemption intertwined. Isaiah falls to his knees, undone by the beauty of such pain. The vision shifts again. The servant lies upon the ground, silent. A shadow looms over him, a cross-shaped silhouette stretching across the sand. Isaiah cannot breathe. The wind howls through unseen places, carrying voices like mourning angels. "He was led like a lamb to the slaughter," Isaiah whispers. "And as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he opened not his mouth." In that silence, he feels creation itself tremble. Mountains bow, stars dim, heaven weeps. Yet in the center of sorrow burns an unquenchable light. Isaiah understands. This is not defeat. It is deliverance disguised as death. The fire that once purified his lips now purifies his soul. The vision turns to light. The servant rises, his wounds no longer bleeding but radiant. Scars turned into stars upon his flesh. Death bends before him like mist before the dawn. The heavens open, and Isaiah hears a voice that shakes his spirit, yet fills him with peace. He shall see the travail of his soul and be satisfied. Isaiah falls prostrate, whispering, "Who has believed our report?" The weight of report. Revelation presses him down. Yet the warmth of mercy lifts him again. He knows this vision is not for his time alone. It belongs to all time, to all hearts that will ever break. In that moment, Isaiah realizes that redemption has a face. And he has seen it. Isaiah wakes upon the temple floor. The lamps have burned low. Dawn light spills through the doorway. His hands tremble as he clutches his chest, the echo of the vision still burning within. Hephzibah enters quietly, her face pale with concern. "Another dream?" she asks. He nods slowly. "Not a dream," he whispers. "A promise." She kneels beside him, resting her head against his shoulder. "Then may we live long enough to see it." Isaiah's eyes drift toward the rising sun. "It will come," he says softly, "though I may not. But when it does, the world will finally understand love." The morning light fills the room, wrapping them both in gold. Jerusalem burns. The air reeks of smoke and sorrow. Isaiah, now an old man, walks through streets lined with ashes where laughter once lived. He leans on a wooden staff, each step heavy, his gray hair tangled by wind. From every corner rise cries of loss. Homes crumbled, temples desecrated, hearts broken. He whispers to himself, "I warned them." Yet even I did not imagine such grief. His voice cracks as he looks toward the Temple Mount, a ruin shrouded in smoke. But amid the silence, he hears the voice once more, soft and sorrowful. Comfort, comfort, my people. Isaiah falls to his knees, tears cutting paths through the soot on his face. Hope, faint but alive, flickers in the ashes. Hephzibah finds him sitting by what was once the temple courtyard, staring into the ruins. Her hands tremble as she reaches for his. "Is this the end?" she asks. Isaiah shakes his head slowly. "No, beloved, the end of walls, not of promise." He looks up, his weary eyes glowing with something unearthly. The Holy One has spoken again, of a time when the wilderness will bloom, when the blind shall see, when nations will walk in light. She leans her head on his shoulder, tears slipping silently down her cheeks. "Then we will wait," she whispers. Isaiah nods, a faint smile breaking through his sorrow. "Yes," he breathes. "We will wait, and the remnant shall rise." That night, Isaiah dreams again, not of fire or ruin, but of renewal. He stands in a valley where dry bones stretch endlessly under the moon. The voice speaks. "Prophecy, son of man." Isaiah raises his staff, trembling. "O dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. A wind rushes through the valley, fierce and alive. Bones rattle, sinews form, flesh covers what was dead. Before him stands a multitude, once lost, now breathe." The Spirit whispers, "I will put my breath within them, and they shall live." Isaiah wakes with tears streaming, whispering, "Even in death there is resurrection." Days later, Isaiah gathers the few survivors in the shadow of the ruined gate. Children cling to their mothers. The elderly sit on broken stones. He lifts his voice, cracked but strong. "Fear not," he says, "for though we have fallen, the Holy One has not forsaken us. A new covenant will come, not written in tablets but upon living hearts." The people listen, their eyes hollow but beginning to glimmer. "He will raise up his servant," Isaiah continues, "and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him." The murmurs quiet, even the wind seems to still. And for the first time in years, the people believe. That evening, Isaiah stands once more at the city wall, looking toward the distant horizon. The wind carries the scent of rain, the first in months. He feels it cool upon his wrinkled face, washing away the soot and sorrow. "You keep your promises," he whispers. "Even when men forget them." He closes his eyes, smiling faintly as the rain begins to fall. Hephzibah's voice calls softly behind him, but the prophet does not turn. His heart is at peace. The covenant he has seen will outlive his years. Lightning flashes far away. Not of wrath this time, but of renewal. The storm that once destroyed now nourishes. Isaiah's hair is white as the morning mist. He sits beside the gate of the rebuilt city, staff across his knees, watching children play where ashes once lay. The laughter warms him. It sounds like prophecy fulfilled. Hephzibah brings him bread and water, smiling softly. "You spoke, and the generations live," she says. Isaiah shakes his head. "No, beloved," he spoke, and I listened. He gazes at the hills beyond, golden with sunrise. "Do you see it? The old things have passed away. The Lord makes all things new." She touches his shoulder. "You see farther than I can." Isaiah smiles faintly. "Then let me tell you what I see." And as the light grows brighter, his voice begins again, not as warning now, but as worship. As the day fades, Isaiah climbs the temple steps once more, slower now, leaning heavily on his staff. The rebuilt temple gleams in twilight, its walls pale as ivory. He enters alone, whispering a prayer he has spoken since youth. "Here am I, Lord, still willing." Inside, the silence greets him like an old friend. He kneels before the altar, and the veil of light returns, softer than ever, surrounding him like breath. "Or time is ending," the voice whispers, "but the word shall not end. What I showed you will come to pass." Isaiah bows deeply, tears in his eyes. "Then my life has been enough." That night, Isaiah dreams his final vision. He stands upon a mountain higher than any on earth. Below him lies a world renewed, rivers gleaming like molten glass, forests whispering with life, cities shining with peace. The sky itself is alive, painted with the colors of dawn eternal. A voice speaks through the light. Behold, I create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered. Isaiah's heart swells. The pain of exile, the cries of war, the ruin of nations, all dissolve like morning fog. Only glory remains. And in that glory walks the servant, now radiant, enthroned in compassion. Isaiah bows low, whispering, "It is finished." Isaiah wakes at dawn. Hephzibah sits beside him, holding his hand. "Did you dream?" she asks softly. He nods, voice barely a whisper. "I saw it, the world made whole." Her tears fall silently. "Then rest, my love. You've spoken enough." The morning light spills through the window, bathing them both in gold. Isaiah smiles faintly. "No," he murmurs. The word speaks still. His breathing slows. The light brightens. Not of this world, but the one he has seen. And as the first song of birds fills the air, the prophet's eyes close forever, his lips curved in peace. Jerusalem awakes to a sky without shadow. The news spreads gently. Isaiah, son of Amos, has gone to rest. The people gather in silence near the temple gates, the same place where he once cried warnings of fire. Now they come not in fear, but gratitude. A young boy places a single white lily on the steps. A breeze stirs, carrying dust and petals upward, as if unseen hands receive them. In the stillness, a voice seems to linger, not thunderous, not distant, but within every heart. The word endures, and beyond the city, over hills reborn in green, the sun rises, the eternal dawn Isaiah saw long before anyone else. Welcome, family. I'll be sure for Kiristone Sigmain is